Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I am back with another video. Again, running behind with my video, so you'll have to forgive me. Today I am using the Vintage Teacup stamp set, the Amazing You stamp set, and then the Hugs and Smile stamp sets. These are all from Altenew. This is going to be weird. So I will explain to you why it's weird after it's over. Basically, I'm going to show you some still shots of the masking that I did. There will actually be a video. So I use my teacup mask for placement. I put my flower down. I picked the flower up with the Misty Door, and then I removed the teacup mask, stamped that, masked the flower, and then stamped my leaves, masked those, stamped my teacup, masked that, and then stamped my saucer. I didn't need to stamp the saucer or mask the saucer because my other flowers were going up. Here you can see on the top left hand side, I got like a black streak on my card, probably from my dirty Misty Door. So I stamped the leaf portion of the rose, and now I'm stamping two of the roses. And then this is the whole thing completed. Here's with all of the masks off. You can see there's two different line widths here, and in order to make it more cohesive, well, first I'm going to get rid of that black streak, and I did that with a mono sanding eraser. You'll be able to see, like in the close-up, it's totally gone. Those things are magic. So here's where I went in with the EK Success journaling pen and outlined that so that it would be more of the same line width, so everything looked more cohesive. And then we're going to get into the actual video, like magic, right? The reason that we are going to jump right into ish. So here's all of my artist markers. That's like them all swatched out. And so I picked these colors originally, but it felt very fall. So then I decided to go with the rosy pinks, and that felt a little more like spring to me. And then we're going to hop right into the coloring. I promise you, eventually explain to you why the beginning was weird. And if you watch my Instagram, then you probably already know. So among all of the times that I have used this set, this vintage teacup set, which is hands down one of my favorites from Altenew, I've never actually colored the cup anything but a white or off-white cream color. So this time I thought that I would kind of switch it up, and I would color the cup and the saucer like a Tiffany blue color. So as far as my shading goes, I'm pretty much just doing a center highlight. So I'm going to add shading to the left and the right of the cup. I'm also adding it underneath where the flower is hanging over. The reason I was able to get that look of the flower hanging over is because I used the teacup mask for placement in my Misty. So I just got it that way it would be nice and lined up, and it's one of the handiest tricks I have ever learned just for placement purposes. It makes the process of doing a one-layer card so much easier. Because when you're doing a one-layer card, you have to stamp what you want to be in the front first, and then stamp towards your background, which can be kind of confusing. And there are times still, even now, even though most of the cards I make are one layer, that I still kind of mess it up. So just again, with the center highlight is what I'm going for. Please forgive me for this gravelly man voice I have going on. You guys knew how excited I was for spring to get here, and now spring has arrived. And now my sinuses are just like a hot mess. The allergies are in full effect. But I'm still not mad because today was like 66 degrees and the sun was out. I was walking Peanut to school, and he's like, "There's no clouds in the sky, Mommy." And I was like, amen. Preach on, my child, because it was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous day. So the reason that I had to take still shots of my stamping procedure was because Eric and I were laying on the couch. So I knew I had this blog hop coming. The reason I chose this stamp set was because this is Altenew's anniversary blog hop. And they had just a huge amount. In fact, I think it's still going on. So I will link to my blog if you're watching on YouTube. Pretty sure the giveaways are still up for grabs. I think because it's such a long celebration, there's quite a bit of time to get to it. But anyway, so I wanted to use since it's their anniversary hop, I wanted to use my favorite stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I opted for this one. I know that I have made similar cards to this, probably at least one other time, probably two other times. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. I just love it. I love the whole idea of flowers being tucked into like this, cute little teacup. But anyway, I knew the blog hop was coming, and I needed to make a card, and I was being so lazy because we had come home from youth group, and so I had worked all day and then done youth group in the evening, and then came home and made dinner, and we had just got done eating, and I was laying on the couch, basically just in a vegetative state, and I was like, I don't want to do anything, but I have to make this card. And he was like, I'll make the card. And I was like, oh yeah, you're gonna go in there and make a card. And he was like, yeah, I'll go make the card. And I'm like, you know what? You go right ahead. You go in there and make the card, and I'll lay on this couch. And so quickly back to the card. So for the shading on the saucer, because I have that center highlight going on, I'm adding a highlight to the center of the saucer, but then also to the center of the left and right sides of the plate, because it would catch light in both of those areas. So it's going to be darkest where the cup is blocking the light. Then there's also going to be a little bit of a dark edge where the lip of the plate comes up and over, and then a little bit of darkness where the cup is sitting on the plate. So that's where you can see me adding all those. You see me continually turning it, because in order for me to get a good blend or a good flick that I'm happy with, I have to turn the paper so that I can get it in the direction that works best for me. Don't be afraid to turn your paper. There was somebody, and I think I've told you this before, that I was at a craft retreat with, and she was struggling with her coloring. And so I was showing her some things, and she was like, I never thought to turn the paper. Why didn't I think to turn the paper? So some people just don't think of it, and that's okay. But I'm telling you, turn your paper. It will make it easier. Whether you flick towards yourself or away from yourself, it is a handy little thing that you can do. I know that there's Copic colorists out there, or just colorists in general, whether that's, watercolor or colored pencils, that they don't need to turn the paper. I do, and I don't view it as a handicap. That's just something that I need to do, and I'm cool with it. So anyway, so I was being lazy, and I was like, yeah, you go make the card, whatevs. And so I was literally laying on the couch, I don't even know what, and I heard all this like banging around from the craft room. And so I got up and walked into the craft room, and sure enough, there he is with these Altenew stamp sets out, and he's stamping away. So I was cracking up laughing. And then I was like, well, I still have to make a card. So I just sat on the floor of the craft room, hence the still shots with the carpet in the background, so that I could at least get it stamped while he finished making his card at my desk. And then he thought he'd be all cute, and he took a picture of me sitting on the floor, because it wasn't earlier that week, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, Peanut was here, and he asked Eric if he wanted to go make a card, and so Peanut had told him that he had to sit on the floor because he was going to use the desk. Eric had to sit on the floor because he was going to use the desk. And so I was being funny and took a picture of it and posted it on Instagram, and was basically like, hey, he got, relegated to the floor so Nathan could use the desk. And then so when he stuck me on the floor, he thought he would be all cute and posted to Instagram that I was the one stuck on the floor now, which was very funny. So I sat on the floor while he sat at my desk, and I mean, he actually videotaped, he filmed the whole thing just like I do, and then was like, just being silly or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm totally going to edit that and put it on YouTube. So you're welcome for the gem that will be coming your way, where Eric made a card, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to edit it and the whole thing just like I would a normal video. but I have no idea what he's done. Like, I know what the end result was, but I have no idea the steps that he took to get it. So doing that voiceover ought to be fairly interesting. I might try to see if I can get him to do it with me, just so he can kind of explain, because I think it would be funny. If I can't get him to voice over his own video, at some point I will definitely have him voice over one of my videos, because I think it will be absolutely hysterical to listen to. So anyway, that is why the video started out weird with the still shots. So if you have never been here to this channel before, that's not normally how we roll. Normally we roll regular video all the time. So this coloring, I really loved the way that the cup and the saucer came out. I wanted this to be a very springtime card, so I picked some kind of soft yellows and soft pinks, but I didn't want a lot of dark color. So you'll see here where I'm putting in the darkest parts. This is the darkest color, which actually, it's a YR, but it looks brown, I'm going to be honest. But it's going to give me like a golden yellow. And I'm only putting this in the part that I want it to be the darkest. And I'm not even putting it on every petal. Flowers like this can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming because it looks like it has a lot of pieces parts. The little like fringy parts in the center, I am not, and I'm not kidding you, I am not paying any attention to those petals. I am dotting in the color where I want it to be the darkest, and then I'm moving on with my life. Because ultimately, because they're so close together, you're not even going to be able to tell anyway. So as long as you leave the base dark and the tips light, nobody is going to notice whether or not you got it exactly where it needed to go because of the way the flower's drawn. So don't let that discourage you from trying images like this. It doesn't, just because it maybe looks like a more complex image doesn't mean that no matter what stage of coloring that you're in, whether it be, beginner, mid-level, or expert, I promise you can color this. There's just different ways to go about it. So darkest color, use your darkest color just in the teeny tiniest little areas. And I did the same thing with the saucer. I didn't put a lot of dark color, and you'll see when I get to the pink, I'm not putting a lot of dark there either, because I wanted this to be very soft and very springtime. So now I treat my artist markers as any other alcohol marker. I go lightest to darkest and then darkest to lightest. So now that we're working back out to that lightest color, I'm filling in more of the petals, and so I can just have the tips be the lightest color, so I know that I have lots of highlight area that will give me some contrast and that dimension that I'm looking for ultimately in my coloring. So I'm trying to think if anything interesting is even, so you guys know that I went out of town for the weekend to see some crafty girlfriends. That was awesome. It's always a super good time. It's so fun to just be able to get together with people who know you and who just love you for who you are, just completely unedited, loving, supportive, and especially just the last year that I have had in my life. Side note to the card, here I'm going back in and putting in just a little bit more dark, where I felt like the lightest color kind of blended it away. And that's always another option for you. If you feel like you lose a little bit of dimension, go back in and just put in a little pops of your lightest color. For the leaves, I'm going to do them 2 different colors because obviously they're 2 different flowers, but also it gives me a little bit of contrast. So for the, I don't even know what that is. It looks kind of like a peony, chrysanthemum. What is this large flower? I'm going to need my botanists, my people, to come out and tell me what kind of flower this is, because all know I have a black thumb. The only thing I've ever been able to keep alive is my girlfriend Angie sent me succulents for my birthday, and those things are still kicking. But I promise you, I have not watered them since she sent them, and my birthday's in August. This is April. But they're still alive, so, God love them. They have fortitude, those flowers. Anyway, are they even flowers or are they just plants? They flower, right? Ish. I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to have to get on the Google. But anyway, so they're 2 different flowers. So the leaves are 2 different colors. Plus it gives me a little bit of contrast. That is what I'm going for. So, Anywho, and talking to my craft girlfriends when I was, we were all just sitting joking around. I am, like, you guys know me, and if you watched my Periscopes, when Periscope was a thing, which was live, and I know I told you guys I was going to do the YouTube lives, and I still really, really want to do it. But my schedule is just kind of crazy, because I would like to, if you guys have, questions that you want to ask, or, I would like to be able to do that and have that interaction with you guys. But my schedule is just wild, and I have to figure out how to do it. So it's really getting the time to figure out how to do it so that I can schedule them so I can do it. So anyway, we were talking, and in real life, I am just as I am just as real as I am when I talk to you guys on the videos. There's just a lot more swearing. There's a lot more swearing, and pretty much I'm just one of those people that almost no topic is taboo. I am just a very open person. I appreciate transparency in other people, and consequently that is kind of how I live my life. It helps that I don't care much about what other people think. It's a trait I inherited from my father. I don't have a filter, and I just kind of say what I mean. And sometimes, because, you know what, I can't even blame it on that. I would love to blame my potty mouth on the fact that I work with nothing but men. But honestly, I talked like that before I even started working there. So I can't really just blame it on them. But yeah, I just do. And it's not like that was acceptable in my house, because it wasn't. I remember one time this poor girl came over to my house for a sleepover, and I think she said, what did she say? I think she said crap. And my mom was like, we don't talk like that in this house. And now here I am, like, dropping F-bombs like it's a comma. I'm not even kidding. Not even kidding you. But anyway, so somebody had mentioned, because I do tell a lot of stories in real life and on my Periscope, about my job or different experiences that I have. And there's things that I have, opinions on that I try to steer away from here on YouTube, because it's a happy place. Like political things or things that I see in the news, things like that, that I just don't talk about on here, because I want people to come here and just, have that break from their regular everyday lives, and, hopefully it makes them smile and they learn a little something, in the process. But one of the girls had suggested that since YouTube now offers a paid membership, so for a channel, you can create, a paid membership to your channel for like extra content, that I do a like Crafters After Dark YouTube channel. So like where I would just, be my regular real people self in real life and tell those stories and talk about those things and talk like I normally talk. Like in my Periscopes, I used to put out a warning, because I didn't want anybody to be, caught off guard by my potty mouth. So I used to have a note that said, I say swear words, and I just laid it right on, like, at the top of the screen when I was coloring, so that people who maybe were just getting in would know that, that in fact I do swear. So if they were looking to watch with their children, like, I'm not looking to horrify anybody's kids by any means. Well, I'm not looking to horrify anyone, quite honestly. But so I remember when I was at CHA for the first time, there's this wonderful crafter. Her name is Nancy, and she is so very sweet. She's an older lady. She's never even set foot in a bar in her life, and she works with Lawn Fawn. And she's delightful. She's so very talented and kind and sweet. And so it was my first CHA, and I didn't really, I knew my friends, but I didn't really know a ton of people in the industry, and honestly, nobody really knew me. Not really. I had just started my YouTube channel, and I was doing the Periscopes, and so I was walking, looking at all of because the way CHA works, if you've never been, is it's pretty much for wholesalers. That's the whole purpose, and it's for people to display their new product, and wholesalers to come in and kind of shop that product and see if there's anything that they want to carry. But for those of us who work in the industry, it's also a very nice excuse for us to get together and see each other. And so I was walking down one of the aisleways and looking at some product, and she came over to somebody that I was with. Who was it? Was it Dawn? I don't think it was Dawn. It might have been Christina. It might have been Christina Warner, and asked, "Is that Kelly Latavola?" And she said yes. And she said, "Oh, I would really like to meet her." So Christina got my attention. I walked over, and she was like, "Oh, I'm such a big fan. I love your stuff." And it was just like, just melt your heart. She was so darling, until she said the words, "I watch your periscopes," and I was like, "Oh, Nancy, no, 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 Nancy, no. Please don't, stay away." Like, I was just so mortified that she would be watching these periscopes and listening to these stories, and me just like a sailor, like a truck driver. I mean, just, oh my gosh, so bad. And she was like, "Yeah, sometimes I have to turn the volume off, but I really love watching you color." And I was like, "Nancy, stick to the YouTubes. Stick to the YouTubes, because that's all clean. That's all cleaned up." So yeah, obviously I would not be, if I did that, and I don't even know if there's a market for it, honestly. I don't even know if there's anybody out there as, just depraved individual like I am. So leave me a comment and let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. Because quite honestly, even if I did the YouTube lives, I would be able to filter some, I think, but I don't, I'm a little nervous for myself about, sorry, about what kind of filtering I could possibly be doing, honestly. So you let me know if that's something that you're interested in. The other thing somebody suggested was like the Patreon, where people pay for extra content. And I don't know how down I am with that, because that's like a whole separate thing. And I don't even know how I feel about charging it, honestly. I really don't. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I don't want people to think that it's like part of my regular everyday YouTube channel either. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah. So anyway, so here, what day was it? Did I put up that video yesterday? I put up the video the other day, where I did the Nuvo markers comparative to the Copic markers. And in that card, I did something I hadn't done in a really long time, which was use a blue marker to outline my image. And I really remembered how much I missed it. So here, because I used kind of the Tiffany blue for the cup and saucer, I decided to go with more of a true blue to outline the images, and just kind of, I don't know, bring a little bit more focus to them, give them a little bit more weight. And this was a little bit bold. This was a little bit bolder than I wanted, and I didn't really love it after I did it. So I'm going to use that same trick that I used the other day to kind of soften it. I'm going to go in with the, it's basically Altenews version of a colorless blender, and it is sold separately from their marker sets, but very handy to have, especially if you're going to be using these markers for you to clean up if you have an error. But it's also very nice for things like this, where you can kind of tone down a color, which is what I did. So now that that's all said and done, every time I do this vintage coffee cup and saucer, I have to go in and add like some metallic accents, and it's usually gold. I don't know why. I just feel like the gold goes with the blue. I feel like the gold just goes on the teacups. I don't know that I've ever really seen a silver accent on the vintage, like the older style teacups. So that's what I'm doing here. This is a metallic jelly roll pen. I buy the one that has the 3 in it. It's like gold, silver, and I think copper. I really, really like them. They are opaque, so if you go over your black line, it will hide it. You might have to go back in with your the multi-liner or Micron, or in my case, the EK Success journaling pen, to make your black line more visible again. I'm going to add some highlights to my flowers with this white gel pen, and then I'm going to cover the whole thing with a glitter pen, because I love them glitters. So I got the shimmer on the cup, and then I got the shimmer on the flowers, and that's like the perfect amount of shimmer. All of the things are shimmery. The last thing I'm going to do to finish the card is stamp the sentiment. So there's a bunch in here. There's smiles, hugs, kisses, all those things. I decided to stamp out sending you smiles. And the smiles is in a really pretty script so they pair really well together, and I just snugged it in between the flowers there. And then that's pretty much it. That's the whole card. So don't forget to leave me your feedback. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video, which hopefully will be Eric making a card. All right, bye.